Well, let's get more fallout from the case of Chen Guangcheng now. We're joined by our Washington correspondent, Craig McMurtry. Craig, good morning to you. How is the US explaining the move by this dissident to leave the US Embassy in Beijing?
Good morning, Michael. It's clearly a very sensitive case. Essentially, US officials are saying that the 40-year-old blind dissident wanted to go. They are saying that they asked him on at least 3 separate occasions with witnesses whether he was ready to leave the embassy, and he signalled very clearly 3 times that he was. Now, China Aid, this activist group based out of Texas, is painting a different picture. They are describing it as a sad development, saying that he was reluctant to leave. US officials are conceding that they did relay to him what Chinese authorities had been saying, and that is that if he didn't leave the embassy, his family would be returned to the village where they had been mistreated in the past. The Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, called Mr. Chen in hospital and spoke with him. The US is promising that it will retain an interest in his case, and that could include welfare visits. But we're left really wandering through the tea leaves, I suppose. It's very difficult to tell exactly what happened here. I mean, the State Department's releasing transcripts of the Assistant Secretary of State, Kurt Campbell, who was obviously the point person in China, in Beijing on this case. He's saying that the Chinese and American sides worked, quote, very closely to manage the situation. He goes on to say in this transcript, some of them, referring to the Chinese officials, really admired him quietly and thought that maybe he might have been mistreated. So that's putting the best possible spin on this situation. Yet on the other hand, Chinese officials are demanding an apology from the United States for even getting involved in this case.
OK, let's turn to domestic US politics now. And we've just witnessed what could only best be described as a bizarre media conference by Newt Gingrich, formally pulling the pin on his White House run.
Very, very curious appearance by the former Speaker. He, of course, signalled through his campaign a week ago that he was going to suspend the campaign. It happened today. He appeared emotional at the beginning. He described it as a wild ride. The highlights, obviously, Georgia and South Carolina, his only 2 big wins. But you're right, it was a rambling address. And in terms of endorsing Mitt Romney, well, it was a lukewarm endorsement at best. This is about as strong as it got.
The presidency matters, but so do all the other offices of self-government. If you're truly going to have a wave of change in America, that wave has to occur in many, many places simultaneously. As to the presidency, I'm asked sometimes, is Mitt Romney conservative enough? And my answer is simple. Compared to Barack Obama, you know, this is not a choice between Mitt Romney and Ronald Reagan. This is a choice between Mitt Romney and the most radical leftist president in American history.
Gee, talk about damning with faint praise. And finally, Craig, I believe Newt Gingrich made something of a concession on his radical plan to colonise the moon.
He conceded that that possibly wasn't his smartest moment, but then later on he returned to the theme, talking about the importance of space in future as one of a whole long shopping list of issues he intends to pursue. He thanked the Las Vegas billionaire who bankrolled the super PAC that supported his campaign, but he leaves this campaign millions of dollars in debt. Given the strength or lack of strength in that endorsement of Mitt Romney, it's hard to see him playing a very significant part in this campaign going forward. And remember, of course, he has called Mitt Romney a liar during the campaign. He's accused Mitt Romney of speaking pious baloney. It's going to be pretty difficult for him to be involved in the months ahead.
We'll see where it goes. Craig McMurtry, we'll speak to you soon.